It began with a silence that no one inside the hospital could explain. Only minutes after a respected emergency physician was escorted out carrying nothing but a worn backpack and the tiny hand of his 7-year-old daughter, the windows started trembling. Nurses rushed toward the glass expecting another ambulance, but instead, 2 military helicopters descended onto the hospital's emergency landing zone in broad daylight. Doctors froze. Administrators stared in disbelief. Patients looked up from their beds. The same man the hospital had dismissed as replaceable had suddenly become the one person the military refused to lose. If you believe kindness is stronger than pride, forgiveness is more powerful than revenge, and everyone deserves a second chance, please like this video, leave a comment, share it with someone who needs hope today, and subscribe to our channel to become part of our growing community that believes compassion can change lives. Dr. Preston Hale never imagined that his hardest battle would take place outside an operating room. Every morning before sunrise painted the sky with soft gold, he prepared breakfast for his daughter, Eliza. He tied her shoelaces, packed her lunch with handwritten notes hidden between sandwiches and fruit, then drove her to school before beginning 12-hour shifts in one of the busiest trauma hospitals in the state. Since losing his wife to an aggressive illness 4 years earlier, every decision he made revolved around giving Eliza a life filled with security, warmth, and love. Despite the emptiness that lingered in their small home, everyone who worked alongside Preston knew he was different. He remembered every patient's name. He visited recovering children even after his shifts ended. He quietly paid for medications when families couldn't afford them. He never asked for recognition. He simply believed that medicine was not just about healing bodies but protecting hope when people had none left. His kindness, however, often clashed with the hospital's new executive leadership. The newly appointed chief administrator, Gregory Sutton, viewed healthcare through financial reports instead of human stories. He admired efficiency, speed, and numbers. Compassion, in his opinion, slowed productivity. Preston's habit of spending extra time comforting frightened families frequently appeared on internal reports as delayed patient turnover. The conflict grew slowly. Gregory questioned Preston's methods during meetings. He criticized the amount of unpaid charity work Preston performed inside the hospital. He suggested that emotional attachment clouded medical judgment. Preston never argued loudly. He simply continued treating people the way he believed every human deserved to be treated. At home, life remained beautifully simple. Eliza loved drawing birds because her mother once told her they carried hope from one place to another. Every afternoon she waited by the school entrance, smiling the moment she spotted her father walking toward her in his wrinkled blue scrubs. Some days he arrived exhausted, yet he always found enough energy to ask about her drawings, her friends, and whatever new dream had captured her imagination. One bright morning, everything changed. An elderly veteran suffering from heart complications arrived unexpectedly. Preston recognized signs that the man required immediate surgery despite insurance complications delaying authorization. Without hesitation, he assembled the surgical team and saved the man's life. Instead of praise, Gregory saw only policy violations. By noon Preston received an emergency meeting request. Inside the administrative office, cold paperwork replaced gratitude. Gregory accused Preston of ignoring hospital procedures, wasting resources, and creating legal liability. Preston calmly explained that another 20 minutes of waiting would have cost the patient his life. Gregory remained unmoved. Within minutes, Preston's employee badge was disabled, his locker access disappeared, security politely escorted him through the hospital lobby while stunned nurses watched helplessly. Eliza happened to be waiting in the lobby because school had ended early due to a teacher training event. She saw her father carrying his backpack with quiet dignity while everyone around them avoided eye contact. She asked why they were leaving before he finished helping sick people. Preston smiled even though his heart was breaking. He simply told her that sometimes doing the right thing comes with a heavy price. As father and daughter reached the hospital entrance beneath the bright afternoon sun, an unfamiliar vibration rolled across the parking lot. Within moments, powerful helicopter blades echoed through the air. 2 military helicopters approached the landing pad with remarkable precision. Doctors, patients, reporters, and visitors turned toward the sky. No scheduled military transport had been announced. Uniformed personnel quickly exited both aircraft, leading them was Lieutenant General Arthur Bennett, accompanied by decorated officers and military physicians. The hospital administration hurried outside, assuming a national emergency had occurred. Instead, the general walked directly past every executive. He stopped in front of Preston. Without hesitation, the decorated officer extended his hand, his words carried across the silent courtyard. He thanked Preston for saving countless soldiers during overseas humanitarian deployments years earlier. Long before becoming a civilian emergency physician, Preston had volunteered in dangerous conflict zones where he developed life-saving trauma procedures that dramatically improved survival rates for critically wounded service members. Although Preston never spoke about those years, military hospitals across the country still relied on protocols carrying his signature. The veteran Preston had operated on that morning was not simply another patient. He was a retired Medal of Honor recipient and one of the founders of the Military Medical Research Foundation. When military leadership learned that the physician who had saved him had been fired for acting too quickly to preserve life, they responded immediately. General Bennett calmly informed Gregory Sutton that Preston had been selected months earlier to lead a groundbreaking national emergency trauma initiative connecting civilian hospitals with military disaster response teams. The program could not continue without him. More importantly, the hospital had been chosen as a key partner largely because Preston worked there. Without him, the partnership and millions in federal funding would be withdrawn. Silence settled over the courtyard. Gregory's confident posture slowly disappeared. Board members standing nearby exchanged worried glances. Reporters arriving after hearing helicopter activity began recording everything. Nurses who had quietly admired Preston for years struggled to hide tears. Eliza squeezed her father's hand without fully understanding what was happening. She only knew that strangers wearing uniforms looked at her father with extraordinary respect. General Bennett knelt beside her. He thanked her for sharing her father with so many families who desperately needed him. He told her that heroes rarely wore capes, sometimes they simply wore tired blue scrubs. Eliza smiled with innocent pride. Within an hour the hospital board called an emergency meeting. Evidence quickly revealed that Gregory had ignored multiple recommendations supporting Preston's medical decisions. Several department heads admitted they had remained silent because they feared losing their own positions. Watching Preston stand outside with quiet humility forced many of them to confront their own failures. Meanwhile, Preston sat on a nearby bench with Eliza eating peanut butter sandwiches they had planned to enjoy at home. He showed no anger, no bitterness, only concern for his patients. Still inside, hours later the board emerged. Gregory had been removed from his position pending investigation. The board publicly apologized to Preston before employees, patients, and military representatives. They offered immediate reinstatement with expanded authority. Everyone expected Preston to accept instantly. Instead, he asked one simple question: he wanted assurance that no physician would ever again be punished for choosing a patient's life over administrative paperwork. His request surprised everyone. He had not negotiated for higher salary. He had not demanded revenge. He fought only for future patients and fellow doctors. The board unanimously approved new emergency treatment protections that same afternoon. Nurses applauded through tears. Many physicians admitted they wished they had shown Preston's courage much earlier. The military partnership officially continued. Within months Preston helped create training programs used by hospitals across the country. Emergency response times improved dramatically. Thousands of trauma specialists adopted procedures emphasizing both medical excellence and human compassion. The hospital itself slowly transformed. Patient satisfaction rose. Staff turnover declined. Young doctors requested assignments specifically because they wanted to learn from Preston. Every Friday afternoon, Preston gathered new residents for discussions that rarely focused solely on medicine. He reminded them that every chart represented someone's mother, father, child, or best friend. He taught that technical skills saved lives, but kindness helped people survive afterward. Gregory Sutton eventually accepted responsibility for his mistakes. After months away from hospital administration, he began volunteering with non-profit medical organizations serving underserved communities. Witnessing the consequences of his decisions changed him in ways success never had. One sunny afternoon nearly a year later, he quietly visited the hospital. He found Preston speaking with a frightened young family outside the pediatric ward. Gregory waited respectfully until they finished. He offered a sincere apology without excuses. Preston listened, then he shook Gregory's hand. Forgiveness arrived not because the past had disappeared, but because carrying resentment would only create new wounds. Nearby, Eliza watched the moment unfold while sketching birds in her notebook. She smiled because her father had once told her that healing hearts often required more courage than healing broken bones. The years passed, the image of 2 military helicopters landing to retrieve one compassionate doctor became legendary among hospital employees. New nurses heard the story during orientation, medical students repeated it as a reminder that integrity sometimes carried unexpected consequences and unexpected rewards, yet Preston never displayed newspaper articles or awards in his office. Instead, one framed drawing hung above his desk. It showed 2 birds flying toward the sun. At the bottom, written in careful childhood handwriting, were simple words from Eliza. "My dad helps people fly home." Visitors often asked about the picture. Preston always smiled, because out of every recognition he had ever received, that drawing meant the most. Before this story ends, we'd love to hear from you. Please leave a meaningful comment sharing a time when you witnessed kindness, courage, forgiveness, or someone who chose to do the right thing even when it came at a personal cost. Your story might inspire someone else who needs hope today. As the warm afternoon sunlight streamed through the hospital windows, Preston walked the familiar hallways once again, not as a man seeking recognition, but as a father who had never stopped believing that compassion was worth every sacrifice. Beside him, Eliza skipped happily with another bird drawing tucked safely under her arm, reminding everyone who saw them that the greatest victories are not measured by titles, salaries, or applause, but by the lives we lift when they are at their lowest. The hospital had almost lost its finest doctor because it confused kindness with weakness, yet in the end it discovered that true strength always reveals itself through humility, service, and unwavering love. And sometimes, when the world forgets the value of a good heart, it takes something as unforgettable as 2 military helicopters descending from a bright daytime sky to remind everyone that the people who quietly save others are often the ones most worth saving themselves. If this story touched your heart, please like this video, leave a meaningful comment, share it with someone who needs hope today, and subscribe to our channel so you never miss another emotional journey.